Now we get to Katt Williams' Club Shay Shay interview. Now, after all of this happened, you have to realize Ricky Smiley had gone on Club Shay Shay first. Steve Harvey had been on Club Shay Shay. Cedric the Entertainer had been on Club Shay Shay. So all of these people had been there. Kevin Hart had been at different places talking, and about these things with the Breakfast Club, like I said, and there's been all of these drama over all of these years. So Katt Williams, who has never been one too shy to talk about things and had talked about things on different platforms, he knew that there wasn't going to be the same type of availability as this kind. Because he's not doing the Hollywood machine, he doesn't have to go and do tours and things like that in order to sell things. Let me explain. So when you're in the Hollywood machine, typically, if you have an album coming out, you do your late shows, right? You do your late shows, your talk shows, you do a performance at the Grammys, you do all of these different things to help promote the product that you're selling, okay? This is part of the Hollywood machine. This is part of the production and promotion machine. Just like if you're doing movies, you go to different cons and Sundance and all of these different things in order to promote it. You also do late show interviews and things like that, because at those things are going to ask you, hey, you just did a movie. What's that about? And then you talk about it, and those things get millions of views at nighttime. And so then it's like, oh, good. Now people are aware of your movie. This is part of the machine. So when people say things like Beyonce retired, the reason why Beyonce made the statement that she retired is because she stopped having to do the machine. I don't have to go do a single tour for 4 different singles on my album and do performances at the late show and so on. And so I don't have to do all of that game. She just gets to release her music like she wants to. So then now that means I can just do it at my own leisure. I'm not part of the machine. I don't have to release it at certain times for it to be considered for a Grammy. I don't have to do it within these specific album release and single cycles and performance and tour cycles. It's not the same kind of journey. I get to just do what I want when I want to. Black Parade wasn't part of an album, which is I could just do it. We're at a cultural moment and I want to put it out. I don't have to worry about, I have to do specific music videos for my singles and not the other ones. I can just shoot a music video for every single song on my album, make it a videography, right? These are the type of things. So in the same sense, when Katt Williams is not part of that machine, he doesn't have to do that. So he mentions,
people know I don't go everywhere. I'm not interested in talking to people unless it's like a Larry King or somebody of an amazing ilk that I would actually want to go talk to in real life.
Okay.
I don't do it so I can sell product, and I got things to sell, so let me come talk.
This is really important for the Wanda Smith thing, which we'll come back to. So we're going to go through this interview and the things that Katt Williams was saying. I think it's really funny because at the very beginning of the interview, Shannon Sharpe mentions, hey, you're the top touring comedian. Then he pauses and says,
bro, you've been doing it. I mean, you're one of the top one of the top touring comedians of all time.
Because I think he's aware that there's going to be some people that are contest that and are going to say, no, Kevin Hart is. And you see Katt Williams stop with his drink because he realizes, you're struggling with this one. I don't think you believe it. So then Katt Williams begins going in immediately, like holding nothing back. There's a part where he mentions,
are you kidding me? You let Ricky Smiley sit here and you said out that mouth, you stole Friday After Next, the one I was in.
During Shannon Sharpe's interview with Ricky Smiley, Shannon Sharpe says to Ricky Smiley,
you stole the show in Friday After Next. Yeah.
Which to me is a shot at Katt Williams, because everyone knows the most memorable scene from Friday After Next, the most memorable character from Friday After Next was Money Mike. Without a doubt, he stole that movie. So this being Katt Williams' big break, in which he has one of the most iconic and memorable roles in a pretty successful franchise, for you to give that credit to Ricky Smiley is a bit of a disservice. And Katt Williams had to sit there and just hold that, like, okay, you're giving him this character. And then Ricky Smiley makes a claim.
And somebody said, no, we want you to play Mike.
The thieving ass Santa Claus.
Right, and then, because Katt Williams was gonna be the Santa Claus.
Right.
And then, and they switched it over.
Right.
So now that Ricky Smiley has made those statements, Katt Williams is still holding that. This isn't the first time that he said that. Here's another example where he has said that.
Audition for the Money Mike part that Katt Williams played. And I think Katt Williams was supposed to play the Santa Claus. Is that?
So now he told people, and so Katt Williams is.
What he told everybody was, Katt Williams, don't nobody know who he is. I'm on the radio. I'm with Steven Said. Everybody know me. That's what he told everybody that would listen to on the set.
This is where Katt Williams then takes a very cheap shot. He says,
and I don't know why he would lose a child and come on the air and start lying. That's why people believe in rituals right there.
And that's because Ricky Smiley had lost his son. Or Ricky Smiley had a child that had died kind of shortly before that interview. And I don't feel like that needed to have been mentioned. I think that was a low blow. I just don't see why that's important. It wasn't relevant. It just seems like a really, really bad cheap shot. Then he starts talking about the character, about Money Mike, and he's mentioning it.
I was audition number 201. 200 black comedians auditioned for the role of Money Mike with me. You're saying all 201 of us was auditioning and you had already had the role?
And so then he kind of goes on and said,
and had already shot the role in 4 days.
All that to say, when it comes to Katt Williams, a lot of people say he'll tell a joke, but he'll never tell a lie. And he does appear to come off as honest, but that doesn't mean that everything he's saying is correct. This is where he then goes on to his interview and he makes one of the statements that I believe is just not true. I can't say it for sure, but it was fact checked. People keep saying nobody's ever fact checked Katt Williams. No one said that he's lying. And lie is a strong word, but I know people are saying that what he's saying ain't correct. So he says that
the truth of the matter is the Money Mike in the original script got raped in the bathroom.
Something that he objected to which he put this role on the line, and everything was important. He was homeless at the time. He was living within his trailer. He needed to get his teeth fixed because his 2 front teeth had been knocked out. That's a whole nother conversation. But long story short, he says that he risked that by standing up against this thing. Ice Cube later on addressed this interview and said,
as far as, specific things, Katt was 100 on a few things. Most of what he was saying, a couple things, I just want to clarify. When we bring in a new, comedian, we do have them try out for different roles. So Ricky did give Money Mike a shot. But when we saw him and, we kind of saw how he moved and how he was, auditioning, we decided that he would be a better, Santa Claus, which was, to me, the perfect casting. When we saw Mike, damn, I call him Money Mike. When we saw Katt, when I saw him, I just knew that he was perfect for Money Mike.
But then he says specifically that
second thing I want to clear up, I would never shoot a rape scene in a movie, especially like Friday. We would listen to a certain extent, but we wasn't gonna change the movie for any actor. We do what we feel, and if it was a rape scene, it would have been in the movie. There was no reason not to shoot it. But that's not my style. I don't even like that kind of shit in movies.
Katt Williams was basically claiming that
Katt Williams had to take the risk in front of the studios. If you would allow me to allow us to do this movie without a black man getting raped in it, I promise you that it will be twice as funny as it would be with him getting raped.
He asked them to change it, and so then they rewrote whatever. That's a statement that I don't believe is true. I do believe that maybe they already had that written. I don't know for sure. I can't say who's right. This movie came out about 20 years ago, so we don't know who's telling the truth here. Maybe Ice Cube doesn't remember specifically. Because otherwise Katt Williams is like telling a whole bold-faced lie. I had to have a conversation with the studios. There's also a possibility that both of them are telling the truth. It's very possible that the script was the way it was, but you're always constantly evolving and writing a script as it's going along. And so then it also makes all of the sense in the world that that someone else had an extra page or something, or someone else had altered the script. The script is still a work in progress even as it's being shot. So it's very possible that someone had that scene in it with a scene. One of the writers was considering an idea similar to how what there was with like Dave Chappelle in the dress scene, where it was like, hey, this is the thing that we want you to do. And so he's like, I'm not doing it. And finally, hey, we got another, we'll just do this scene instead. A lot of time you have scenes, they changed the ending of the movie. Originally there was one ending and they had to go back and reshoot it according to Ricky Smiley. That's what he said in his interview.
They shot all my stuff in 4 days. I went back to Birmingham. Came back out because they changed the ending. Did you know that?
Then Katt Williams says that
everything that Money Mike said, Katt Williams wrote.
I don't know that he wrote everything because the character already existed before he got there. But what he did say was that he was adding it on and freestyling a bunch of lines and it was comedy gold. And I've seen some of the behind the scene footage of Friday movies where, the characters are clearly coming up with stuff off of the spot and freestyle and they laugh, reshoot that again and so on and so forth. Same thing happened in Grandma's Boy with Nick Swartzen. These kind of things happen all the time. And Ice Cube then goes on to confirm and say,
Katt, said he wrote his role, which, the role was written, but he enhanced it. This is why Katt was so dope in the movie. Money Mike had a small role, about as big as the Santa Claus role, but when we start filming, he was giving us such magic that we kept expanding his role and giving him more to do because he was on point.
So I don't believe everything that he said, and I don't know that he meant literally everything, but I think what he was basically saying was he did largely expand that role. So at this point, the idea that Ricky Smiley is telling people that he had that role is just wrong. Now, Katt Williams says because of that, because of the way that his character was, he was so egregious that he put in his contract that
I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress. Now, what was Ricky Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday?
That's another statement that I don't believe is 100% true. You can't put in your contract, what contract? I'm only going to work with this guy if he wears a dress. That's not how movies are typically written. I don't believe that to be true. I don't. Again, it's possible I'm wrong. He said it's never been heard of in Hollywood in 100 years, and I don't think it has been heard of. But I don't know, so much of what he says has been true. I can't say 100% that it's wrong. It just doesn't sound believable to me. And if it is true, then at this point, Katt Williams, you're part of the problem. If you're talking about Hollywood making everybody wear a dress, and now here you are demanding that a black man wear a dress, I don't know, bro. This seems a little bit weird to me. Now he goes on and he starts talking about Cedric the Entertainer, and Cedric the Entertainer stealing his joke.
Katt say you stole one of his jokes.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. You know what I mean? It was like the idea of the joke that he was even talking about don't even match up with no timeline.
Internet always keeps receipts. TikTok and Twitter and everywhere else has posted these videos. Look for yourself. Look at this yourself. Katt Williams said, I shot my scene. I had done this joke on Comic View, and it was so successful that it was part of the commercials for Comic View. And so now at this point, like, that joke is doing numbers. Cedric the Entertainer comes up to him and congratulates him. And then later on in Kings of Comedy, he's doing the same joke. Now, he says it's not the same joke. You look at it for yourself. If those aren't the same joke, I don't know what is. The only difference is you did a slightly different setup, but you basically said it's a spaceship. But you're doing the exact same joke. So Cedric is still saying, like, nah, I didn't do that. These are totally different jokes. Everyone who's looking at this can see the opposite. These are clearly the same. Then because of that, the internet then comes up with the Bominicious joke. And it's very obvious that joke was clearly stolen, word for word.
Someone else has stolen some of your material?
Oh, that's a part of this business.
Right.
Now, so then Cedric the Entertainer is laid to rest, right? There's no debate about this. Cedric stole that joke. Next, he says Steve Harvey stole everything from Mark Curry. Mark Curry was Mr. Cooper, and he had a show hanging with Mr. Cooper, and he had obviously had a whole format to that show. Steve Harvey then does hit the Steve Harvey Show, which is basically hanging with Mr. Cooper too.
Same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had.
Oh yeah, you'll need this.
A whistle? Oh, Mark, I'm teaching music, not gym.
Standard issue. Screaming for help only excites the kids.
Steve got a sitcom where he the principal, and he wear a suit, and he...
First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Mr. Hightower, and I'm your new music teacher.
It's hanging with Mr. Harvey. Hanging with Mr. Harvey. Man, he took some shots at Steve Harvey, and he mentioned that, the reason why Steve Harvey retired from stand-up.
Years later, I had, at one time, 7 TV shows running concurrent on the air.
Katt Williams is like, no, that's not why.
He stopped stand-up because he got in a comedy battle called the Championship of Stand-Up Comedy with one Katt Williams in Detroit in front of 10,000 people and lost because Katt Williams said he was actually bald and that was a wig. And I went in, and that's why he couldn't do stand-up anymore.
You see that nigga had to take off that lace front high top fade because he came out here to battle me out there. I plays no motherfucking game, Steve.
So that's what he claims is the reason why he did, because he mentioned.
And then he gets this high top fade, making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business. And it's a man unit.
Which you go back and look at that footage and you can tell, you had he said he had a lace front, bro. Come on, man. So, he was dropping gems throughout this thing. He mentioned,
the truth don't need motivation.
I thought that was a beautiful bar when he was was just like, man, you try to say I'm saying this because I'm drunk. And it's like, no. The truth doesn't need motivation. I thought that was a bar. Then he says,
Cedric sitting here telling you why he ain't a movie star. He over here look like a walrus. You didn't say nothing. He can't even get his arms off his stomach sitting over here. Why I'm not a movie star.
Then he said,
you called Ocean 11 to get that nigga's part. What do you mean you didn't want to be a movie star? So on the behalf of Bernie, I would have to say what I have to say.
Because Bernie Mac had that role, and he said, Hollywood is competitive. I don't know that he wouldn't. Then he says,
he did 4 comedy specials. They're so bad, Shannon, they're not available on Netflix or Tubi. Can I say that again for the audience? They're so bad that they're not available on Netflix or Tubi.
Why did Tubi have to catch a stray shot there? So then, at this point, Shannon is like, man, you sound like you had a lot to get off your chest. And he says, another bar.
Winners are not allowed to allow losers to rewrite history.
That's a bar. So now he goes on to mention that these people are...
For 30 years, they're a group. These aren't 3 random guys.
It's so funny because when you listen to the interviews, Ricky Smiley says that. Listen to this clip and tell me if it seems like Ricky Smiley is validating exactly what he said.
Man, Steve.
You talk about Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey's like a big brother.
Okay.
And I used to open for Sid. Sid and
Right.
Eric Rohn, that was my first manager.
Right.
First person to take me on the road. So
Then he mentioned Earthquake is not in a movie because he can't read, like saying he's truly illiterate. Now he finally addresses the drug claim.
You fucked off promo shoots. You fucked off your promo fucking trips that they had set up for you. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped fucking with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose drugs.
Oh, okay.
Take responsibility.
Because, people have been saying for years he's on drugs. I remember thinking it myself. There was a scene, which is going to come up later on, but there was a thing where he got into, it seemed like a fight with a young kid. And I don't know how that kid's parents didn't press charges because this man clearly does have money. That's really weird. I almost felt like it was staged. I don't know. But it seemed like he took an L to like a 13-year-old. I don't know the story behind that. We were like, yo, this dude is down bad. Everybody that saw that had to think it's either drugs, it's likely drugs or some sort of psychosis, and this dude is down bad. He has mental health issues. We don't know. But we've been on the other end of it. We've seen them accuse people of mental health issues like Dave Chappelle and people being on drugs, Martin Lawrence, and things like that, when that might not necessarily be the case. So we just don't know, like truly, whether what exactly is happening with some of these things. It just seems like these claims can't be 100% true. We don't know the veracity of these claims, but we know that they've been levied. So now at this point, he asks,
Katt's on drugs. Where are the stories? Why is there no story of anybody who ever sold a drug to me, did a drug with me, was around me when I was inebriated?